What's going on? My name is D, aka D Nice, from the Bronx, New York, down here, making people look good, bring a smile on their face. I love what I do. I'm very, very uh, pleased to be selected for this interview from my man right here.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is actually a segment that I'm going to be putting on the podcast called Cut It Out, where I go around interviewing different barbers.
Okay.
And also, if you want to give them your Instagram, your contact information, so that they can look you up, because you never know who might see this video and need a cut, or they're looking for a new barber and you might just fit the description.
Okay, I work at Classic Custom Styles 2, Conover, North Carolina. There are currently 4 Classic Custom Styles locations, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my Instagram is dnicebarber2100. My Facebook is D Bolian, and my TikTok Dnice Bolian,
Okay.
and my TikTok is Bolian as well.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and check them out. If y'all want a cut, and I'm talking about a cut above the rest, then go ahead and check D out. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Also, before we continue, I need y'all to hit that like, subscribe, and share this video so that it can get out to as many people as possible, and we can continue to bring you videos like this. Now, D, exactly what was going on when you were up in New York, facing, the different epidemics that we were at the time when you were growing up? Because D is older than I am, and he grew up in a different era. And him and I, we talk about hip hop a lot, and that's what I wanted to touch on today, because I grew up in a different time with hip hop, and he grew up in a different time with hip hop. So we're going to exchange stories and just basically touch up on what we experienced growing up north in the city of New York.
Well, I'm from the Bronx, New York, and I grew up in an era where hip hop was in its embryonic stages. I grew up in an era where we didn't even have hip hop music played on the radio in the beginning. It was just considered a fad that would pass by, because at that time we were going up against disco, and disco caught fire. But you see what it is now. There's no disco, but there's plenty of hip hop right now. I love the era I grew up in. I grew up in an era of like Grandmaster Flash, Grand Wizard Theodore, Funky 4 plus 1 more, Breakout and Baron, Grandmaster Cash. I grew up in that era, man, in the Bronx.
Some of y'all don't know who these people are, but they are actually the rap pioneers. They are the grandfathers, the godfathers of rap. They started rap. So they started listening to music around the time when hip hop was becoming a major trend. And why do you think disco did not make it as far as hip hop did?
Good question. I think disco did not make it as far as hip hop did, because hip hop at that point in time was speaking the truth. I don't know, that's a very good question. Hip hop made it, disco didn't. I think disco was more of a fad.
Okay.
I think it was more.
For what group of people would you say?
Disco was pretty much for everybody. Disco was for everybody. It was like Hispanics, whites, blacks. Disco music was a vibe. It really was a vibe as well, but it was a different type of vibe. Everybody couldn't relate to disco.
Okay.
As opposed to rap. Rap was core, spoke the truth. The stories in rap, the rappers, like Melly Mel, the Furious Five, the pioneers, spoke the truth, and it's still here today.
Okay. And who did you grow up on? Who was your favorite artist, or we could say DJ? Because I know it started with the DJ. So a lot of
Yes.
people don't know that.
Yes.
They think that someone woke up one morning and just started writing rhymes and
No, well, it was kind of territorial in a sense. You know, different geographical locations had different DJs. Where I grew up at in the Bronx, 181st of T-Bout Avenue, it's called Hooterville now. The DJ over there was Grandmaster Caz. Grandmaster Caz. You had Grandmaster Flash. That was around the area where I grew up at.
okay.
My favorite was probably a toss-up between Flash and Theodore. Grand Wizard Theodore.
And who are they exactly?
Grand Wizard Theodore was a DJ. Grandmaster Caz was a DJ and a MC, which is now known as a rapper. For those of you that don't know, MC is short for Master of Ceremonies.
Most people don't know that. Yeah, that's new to them. You just taught them something. Because most people actually do not know. They say MC all day. They don't even know what it represents. Sometimes they even spell it EMCEE instead of MC. They don't
Right.
even know that. But you told me before that some of the guys that started hip hop, started DJing, it wasn't like it is now where someone can click a button and their songs are uploaded, or they can promote on social media, because we all know we didn't have social media then.
Listen, we didn't have cellular phones. We didn't have cellular phones. This was what you call a real grassroots effort to get your music out, to promote. You had to have a street team. As far as the DJing goes, it was pure DJing. 2 turntables and a mixer. No uploading, no social media, no phones. And these guys still amassed a core audience. It was great, man. It was great. It was great.
That was a lot of hard work. Yeah.
It was hard work, but it was fun. It was grassroots, and it was what we had. It was what we had. You know, we had to work with what we had. And it was cool.
And you said that they would meet at the rec center.
So, okay. So initially, there were like, not block parties, but they were jams. So at that point in time in New York, at a lot of recreational parks, they would set up their equipment. They would get their power from the bottom of the light pole. That's how they got power to their DJing equipment, microphones, turntables, amplifiers, things of that nature, right? And they would set up, and it was free outside. It was, you know, they'll call them jams. They might be jamming in a schoolyard. They might be jamming in a recreational park. There were several places where, you know, these events took place.
Yeah, I grew up on block parties, but and that's what we knew them as. But that was, of course, later on as hip hop started to establish itself in the neighborhoods. Yeah, everything that you're describing is similar to what we experienced in the block parties with the DJs and the turntables,
Right.
The big speakers, and even the boom boxes. Sometimes it was just the boom box
Right.
that we laid down on the floor and started jamming, you know, tunes to. What was it that that made you gravitate towards hip hop? What about hip hop did you love so much that you just had to go to the shows or go to the rec centers and get the cassette tapes? And yes, I said cassette tapes because we did not have digital nor
Nah, nothing was digital. What made me gravitate towards it was basically it was what we had. It was what we had. It was the truth. The MCs would rap the truth. They would rap stories. It was also a meeting place where everybody would gather together. Well, not hypothetically, but let's just say like they might be jamming in Cedar Park. That is a famous park in the Bronx, New York. So let's say they were jamming in Cedar Park, right? Let's say DJ Kool Herc was in Cedar Park, right? And it was heard about. People would come from all over the Bronx to Cedar Park, to that jam. So
word of mouth, right?
yeah, and it's outside. So there's no fire hazard cap. You know, there was none of that. Like people would just gather and you would dance and you would talk and you would listen to the music and you had something to do. You got to understand, around that time, it wasn't a lot for us to do, you know?
Yeah.
It wasn't a lot for us to do. So that was perfect. That was perfect. But who knew? Who knew that it would turn out to be what it is now? You know?
Oh yeah, it started out. Yeah, like you said, it started out small. Who did they say was the first DJ? Wasn't he the Jamaican?
So the first recorded known jam, hip hop jam, was the 1520 Cedric Avenue by DJ Kool Herc.
It was her. Okay, yeah.
You know, and I was not there. I was there, but not there physically.
Okay.
At that time, I was living in the Bronx. You know, I did not go, and that was on the inside. That was in a community center. That was in the community center of the building that he lived in.
Ah, okay.
You see, so that was the first documented, recorded hip hop jam.
So there were others before him, before Kool Herc. They just never recorded until that time.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there were, like, that was not the very first hip hop party. No, that was the first recorded party. Am I familiar with the very, very first hip hop party? No. I couldn't tell you, you know, where the very first one.
So what about some of the other guys that lived in your area? They were recording before, you know, Kool Herc officially recorded, right? They weren't recording, but they were playing before Kool Herc officially recorded.
Yes. So you gotta understand this. The recording equipment was generally a boombox with a tape, and we are taping the jam,
Yeah.
the party. Now the DJs had their thing where they would record their own jam, you know, like a real independent artist, you know, no label,
Yeah.
you know, strictly
On the boombox.
or on a piece of equipment that the DJ may have had hooked
Okay.
up for themselves, you know. It was lovely, man. It was lovely. I wish I could go back.
How hard was it to bootleg then, do you think?
It wasn't hard at all. It wasn't hard at all. You could bring your boom, you could bring your box to the jam and record. Now the quality is nowhere near what it is today, but you could just bring your box, and if they're jamming in the park, you can just bring your box and record it. So, you know, no rights or anything at the time, you know.
So of course they weren't making money then. Also, they weren't making money yet. Hip hop didn't reach that pinnacle yet, right?
They were making a few dollars.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, if you had a boombox, your quality of the tape wasn't well. However, if it was a tape that the DJ had recorded from his equipment, of course the quality was much better. And a lot of those tapes got sold.
Okay.
They got sold. No social media, no advertisement. They just got sold. You know, so they were making a few dollars.
Okay, so these guys were basically independent,
Yeah,
where they were making
absolutely.
their own moves and they had nobody, no label above them. So I wonder when it became, so popular that someone decided to capitalize on hip hop. Like when did they decide? Okay, I see this is going somewhere. Let me sign an artist.
Okay, so let's take it back a little bit first, right? We talk about New York.
Yeah.
After the summertime, it gets very cold.
Yeah.
So they had to take it indoors.
Okay.
Now, to take it indoors, there had to be some sort of negotiations between the owner of the venue and the DJ, the MC, or whoever, right? I don't know what they discussed, but I do know that it was taken on the inside in the winter. When it was taken on the inside in the winter, it wasn't free anymore. You got charged to get in.
Just like any other venue.
It's like any other venue.
Okay.
And let me mention this. There was a club, well, there were several clubs. You had the Black Door in the Bronx. You had the Fever, Disco Fever, although it wasn't disco music. It was Disco Fever in the Bronx. You had the Black Door. You had the Garage. Oh, man. You had, in Manhattan, you had the Audubon Ballroom. They were jamming the Audubon Ballroom. And the Audubon Ballroom is most famous for where Malcolm X got assassinated at.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
So you had the Savoy Manor. These are just a few places that was inside that hip hop was taken to during the wintertime and sometime in the summer.
And so
That's
to
what?
make money during that time.
Yeah.
Outside, it would be more free for the public.
It is free, yeah. Absolutely.
And I could definitely see those guys, and I guarantee you someone thought about it, and they started selling their tapes throughout the crowd, while they were DJing, while they were playing. They probably started selling those tapes, and that's how the tapes just started getting around and circulating. Then when we were able to start recording from tape to tape, because I know you remember the boombox where they made one side A, and you were able to record from one to the other. Then it probably got more popular, and people started handing out more tapes, more cassette tapes. So basically, these DJs or MCs, as you call it.
So let me not get over. So let me say this real quick, right? So they had a livery service, meaning a livery service, like a cab service, right? And it was a cab service. You had OJs. OJ was a cab service. It was a cab service, not like a yellow cab. Pretty much like Uber and Lyft is today.
Okay.
It's like Uber and Lyft is today, right?
Yeah.
And they would charge you by the hour, right? So you would call a cab, a OJ, and the person that drove these OJs, it was their personal cars, they had numbers. So you might call and the dispatch and say, hey, let me get 007, is 007 available? The dispatcher then would contact 007 and say, hey, D want to know if you're available for pickup. He wants you for an hour. He want you for 2 hours, right? And then they would respond, yeah, tell him I got him. Where you want me to pick him up at? Oh, he wants you to pick him up at 2100 T-Box. Okay. Now, what made it unique was the OJ, they would play what you wanted to hear. They had the tapes. They might have a Bambaataa tape. Africa Bambaataa tape, or they might have a Grandmaster Flash tape playing in their car while you're riding around, because they know this is the type of music you want to listen to.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that those tapes were sold to those OJ drivers. You know, I don't know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that probably was an avenue in which, you know, the DJs got paid.
Okay. And definitely a way of getting your sound and your music
Absolutely.
there, because while I'm riding and I hear something that I like, I'm definitely going to ask you, hey, who is this? And then I'm going to try to find that MC. And most MCs were living in the neighborhoods, right? Where now, of course, people get famous and they move out.
No, man, these guys might live on the third floor. One of them might live on the third floor. Somebody might live down the block in this building on the second floor. You know, you went to school with these guys. Like, nah, it wasn't. They were not. See, that's the unique thing about it. They were not separated from, you know, the patrons. They were not separated from the patrons like they are now. You know?
Yeah.
It was really a beautiful time for hip hop. This is in my opinion. You know, it was a beautiful time.
See how that helped in the birth of hip hop. Because if I'm still living in the community, then I'm still able to make music about the community. I'm still able to connect with the people. Because I always say that hip hop is the ghetto gospel. It's
Chuck D of Public Enemy said that rap is the CNN of the ghetto.
I agree. Yeah.
And if you listen to a lot of the MC's rhymes, it was rhymes about what's going on in the community, or rhymes about how flashy they're going to be, or rhymes about what's going on. You know, thing is, nobody had Bentleys, Rolls Royces at that point in time. You know, everybody was in touch.
Okay.
See?
Yeah.
So it was great, man. It was wonderful. It was. I wish I wish I could go back, but you know, going back is not progressing.
Agreed.
So, you know, I get it.
Now, what would you bring from back then till now if you had a chance to? If you had a chance to change things a little bit, what would you bring from that era and implicate it now?
Originality. Originality. Where everybody don't sound the same, like they sound the same now. Originality. And a lot of people get this mixed up. They think that it's just New York. No. California had their own style. The state of Florida had their own style. DC had go-go. You know, Baltimore had house music. You know, the originality part of it is what I would bring back. Just because you could pick up a mic and you say a few rhymes, that don't make you an MC.
Yeah.
That don't make you an MC.
It became more capitalized once they realized they could make money, and that, I believe, is when hip hop started declining as far as artists.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be real, people were making music that they think will sell. Instead of, like you said, the MC might live on the third floor, fourth floor in your building.
Yeah.
So they're making music that they want to hear. And so everyone else wants, you know, it's music that everyone else would relate to or could relate to, and what they wanted to hear, versus now where they don't care what the people, they just want to sell records. Honestly, that's what hip hop is about now. They want to sell records.
It's a business.
It's a business. Yeah.
It's a business.
Yeah.
It's a business. However, the business part of it got away from the core root of it. Let's remember, it does not matter where you're from. You can be from, I don't know, man. You could be from Detroit and rap and blow up. Of course, it's easier now with all of the social media and things. However, you know, hey, like if I could bring anything from then to now,
Yeah.
it would be the diversity that it was and the originality.
Okay.
That's what I would bring
I do miss that too.
to it right now.
Yeah. I do miss that. The originality and how everyone sounded different. It was
Yes.
everyone sounded different. They had their own style, and they didn't care who liked it. As long as they liked the type of music they were putting out there, they didn't care who liked it. But now, like you said, just because one artist is selling, all the other artists believe they need to sound like that artist so that they can sell as well.
But understand it. A lot of their careers are not in their own hands anymore because they're signed to a label.
That's true.
And what they can put out, I'm not an artist, but you know, what they can put out is probably, you know, okayed or not okayed. You know, they might make the music, but that don't mean it's gonna get out.
Oh yeah, you're right. I've heard of artists having their albums shelved.
Yeah.
It's been done for years, and the album just is not put out there. The label shelves the songs, or they may put out one single, see how it does. If it doesn't do well, they just throw you to the side. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that.
Pretty much, man. It was. I will also bring, if I could, a better work ethic by the artist. See, at that time, the work ethic of the artist was much harder. You could not just push a button, click this, click that. You had to literally like get out there, and it was more than just you making the music. You had to get out there and push your music if you really wanted your music to be heard. You know, so, but I'm not shitting on
Yeah.
on hip hop today. It's grown, whether I like it or not. Apparently it's doing something because it's still around
And it's still popular.
and it's still popular.
Probably one of the most popular.
I just don't listen to a lot of artists. I like what I like.
So, with you saying that, who's your favorite artist
Wow,
of
my
all time?
favorite artist of all time. Wow, that's deep. I like Jay-Z a lot. I like his flow, you know, the substance that he has in his music. But if
One?
man, well, let me say this. That's a very difficult question simply because of the eras. The eras. You know, when I grew up in that era, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five were very, very popular because they had a very, very good DJ and they had a group of MCs that were very, very good. You know,
Yeah.
not taking nothing away from other DJs and MCs. So it's really hard for me to say like my favorite of all time. Cause I like at one time, KRS was my favorite.
Right.
At one time, Rakim was my favorite.
Right. But
Jay-Z.
let me rephrase that. Who to you has had, let's say, not to everybody, not to anybody else, or not even to compare them to any other artist. I see what you're saying with the, as far as the times when the artist came out is different times. I mean, who has the number one album to you that you till this day believe is your favorite album of all time? You would put it on right now and play it right now from beginning to end, and it is still your favorite album.
Probably Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z.
Ooh, that is a good one.
Probably Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z.
That is a good one.
Yeah, probably Reasonable.
I did listen to that from beginning to end over and over. Yeah, that is a good one. That's mine. I would personally have to say is Illmatic by Nas, because when I listen to that album, it just takes me back, and I can actually feel the lyrics as he spits them. I can relate to the lyrics as he spits them. Yeah, it was just different. When he first dropped that, it was just a different era. He turned hip hop upside down. People were like, "Who is this guy?" Like, and I believe that's why he gained so much popularity so quickly. And then Reasonable Doubt was another album that I was definitely able to listen to. Yeah,
from start to finish.
Yeah,
every track.
And relate to, and it was the Hood CNN, like you said. It was
absolutely
reporting on what he saw, either growing up in the hood or what was going on in the hood, currently going on in his hood. So I could see that. Yeah.
Reasonable Doubt by Jay-Z. I like that album, but it's so many like I'm gonna leave it at that. That's my favorite.
Reasonable Doubt.
Yes.
Okay. That could also bring me back to when I asked you about who your favorite artist would be, and you clearly said you named Jay-Z, so I could see why that could definitely be, because I can't say that my number one album of all time is Nas Illmatic and not say that, to me personally, that Nas is one of the best MCs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he's one of the best as well. He's one of the best as well. Longevity, rhyme style, substance in his rhymes. That's what I look for.
People look for different, Now, here's where the beauty of it comes from. Experience and age with us is that someone now who just started listening to hip hop, or someone who's a lot younger, they can say, some of them would say Eminem is their favorite, but they cannot compare Eminem's album to someone like Nas or Jay-Z, because they literally just started listening to hip hop a couple of years ago, maybe, or 20 years ago. You see what I'm saying? So they can't, not even 20 years ago, because if you're 20, you probably just started listening to hip hop not too long ago.
Oh, if you're 20, there's a whole lot that you didn't hear.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot that you haven't heard.
Yeah.
If you're 20. And that part is okay too, because like, I don't have a problem with the music now. I don't have a problem with the artist now. What I have a problem with is everything is sounding the same. That's what I have a problem with.
Gotcha.
Everything is sounding the same. Even though now, with social media and everything that goes with it, you can pretty much be independent now and get your music heard now. However, it's so much music and so many artists, and you have to understand that the era drives a lot of, I have a saying, you can make music for that time or you can make timeless music.
Right.
You can make music for that time, that era, or you can make timeless music. If something is threw on now that was made in the 90s, some of that music is still gonna make people get up and do what they do.
Timeless music.
That's timeless music.
Okay.
You have some music that's just for that time right there.
Hit wonders.
Just for that time right here. And after that time is over with,
Yeah.
you won't really hear it no more.
Yeah. Agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Name an artist who you think made timeless music.
Wow. An artist that made timeless music that they're listening to now and they're still making music
Yeah.
from a long time ago, Jay-Z,
Okay. Yeah.
Nas, Ice Cube, Snoop. It's just not regulated to the East Coast. Thing is, the music that they made then,
Yeah.
the timeless music that they made then, is still relevant now. Even though, if you go to a concert, you notice the DJs at the concert, a lot of their segments be littered with older music.
I've heard it happen in the club. They play music from 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they would start their show off like that, and then they would gravitate towards the
Right.
recent sounds. But they gotta rise out of the crowd when they did play the older music.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's timeless. Because it's timeless. I don't want to be super specific and leave other MCs out. I'm gonna give you an example. Special Ed, I Got It Made. Or more recent, but not really recent, Master P. Make them say, that gets people up.
Still to this day.
Mystical. Shake your ass. Watch yourself. That's what I mean by timeless music.
Right.
That's what I mean by timeless music. People are gonna always move to that music.
That's true.
It's timeless.
I've always said that the South
Mm-hmm.
has captured the attention of the world when it comes to hip hop, because let's be real, most of the number one selling artists lately have been from the South. Yes, of course, they're still making music in the North, but it's not as popular. The Northern artists are not as popular as the Southern artists. Do you think that rap has shifted and it has moved to the South because they're making timeless music, or because they're making music for the time?
I think it's both. The reason why I say I think it's both. Take Outkast, for instance. They're from Atlanta.
Yeah.
They make timeless music.
Agreed.
They make timeless music.
Agreed. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
They have some great, yeah.
So, but then you look at somebody like, no disrespect to any artist that I name, but then you look at somebody More or less like let's say Jeezy in the trap music rap.
Okay.
You know, the trap music rap, it is timeless,
Well, that
but it was really
yeah,
era driven.
yeah. Because that era is kind of gone. If you think.
Yeah, it's era driven.
Yeah.
It's timeless to me because I like it. But as a whole, it's not. Take NWA from the West Coast. What is that? Gangster rap? What do they call it? Gangster rap. You know, that was era driven. That was era driven. You know, in my opinion, specific music, specific rap is era driven. More dance, party, not specific rap. That has a more of a chance to be timeless than era driven. You understand what I mean?
Like the trap music or the gangster rap. Yeah, because if we go back, if we look back, you can see the evolution of rap music when it comes to artists making music for that time, because it was popular for that time.
Yes.
Then everyone's attention shifted and moved on to something else. They were vibing and listening to something else until that type of music also shifted and it then moved on also. For instance, what was it? We had gangster rap. We had
Trap music.
We even had conscious rap at one point.
We had conscious rap.
It's not so conscious anymore. There's still artists making conscious music, but it's not.
They don't have the following that they once had, because the conscious rap was kind of era driven.
Yeah, it actually was. You're right.
It was more.
That's when we had the Public Enemy, the KRS-Ones. Who else? Even later on, the Talib Kweli's, the Most Defs.
Yeah. You know, people. That's what I say. Like, I'm not an MC. I'm not an artist. However, timeless music, in my opinion, comes with anthems. Comes with anthems, right? Or it comes with straight club party type rap music. It's not centered or focused on trap or gangster, or, you know what I'm saying? It's not focused on, it's just fun rap. Example, LL Cool J. His music is not focused on one thing. You have some of his music that you play in the club, and he's not trying to be a gangster. He's not trying to be trapping, making trap. He's just making music.
Yeah, agree. Yeah.
He's just making music.
Love ballads,
Yeah.
verses, battles. Yeah.
You know, his music is timeless.
Agree.
His music is timeless.
Yeah.
You know. Then I'm gonna say, let me say this, right? Because I love hip hop. I love hip hop, right? There are certain elements that all intersected at the same time that really made rap music blow through the roof. Elements like fashion. You know, fashion intersected. As bad as it is, drugs intersected. You see what I'm saying? So you know, these things all intersected, and then you had the music with it, and it just blew the roof off. And to me, that was the 90s. to me, that was the 90s and part of the 2000s, early 2000s. Not 2010, but early 2000s and 90s. To me, it might not reflect it in sales, but I'm talking about when you're driving in your car and you pull up to the light and you listen to what somebody else is playing in their vehicle. That's my ruler that I use to measure. You see what I'm saying? When I, going to the club, what they playing in the club was, because, let's take it back what we just said. In the very beginning, these MCs were in the community. You were in touch with these MCs here. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it was measured for them. You see what I'm saying? There was a place in Harlem called Harlem Music Hut. You can get all mixtape, whatever mixtape you want to get. Get a mixtape. And it was great, man. It was a great time.
Harlem Music Hut.
Harlem Music Hut, yeah, you can get
shops like that.
Yeah, you could get
cassettes or
these were cassettes, man. These were cassette tapes, man. Like DJs would make these cassette tapes, man, and take them to places. I just named that one place, Harlem Music Hut, and they would get sold. People would come from everywhere. For instance, we're in the South. I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx. Okay? Mixed tapes. Let's say you had a Clue tape. Shout out to Clue. You hear Clue tape in the South, 9 times out of 10, the mixtape came from somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
To get down here,
yeah, oh yeah,
they had to buy it from somebody,
yeah,
from somewhere. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you heard it. My thing is, you heard it. It wasn't just restricted to New York. Or the North. You would hear it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was real work then.
That was real work.
Yeah, to get your music like to another state, let alone 5 states over. Yeah, that was real work versus now where you literally can sit at home, make a song, and then hit a button. The whole world can access it. So that, yeah, they had to put in a lot of work.
Now, that's the thing, not to cut you off. The whole world can access it. But does the whole world access it?
Oh, no, yeah.
You see it?
Yeah. But you have the opportunity for them to now versus back then, like you said, that cassette tape had to come from somewhere. That mixtape had to come from somewhere. They may have recorded it in New York, but for it to end up in Atlanta, for it to end up in Memphis, it had to come from somewhere. And you're right. And then people traveled with it. And I don't know if they were. Well, they couldn't have been selling them online. We didn't have.
No online.
Yeah, we didn't have that access yet.
I just told you. You had to go to. Where I would go, I'll go to 125th Street, Harlem Music Hut. I'll say, hey, let me get that Clue, let me get that B Lord. I would tell them the tapes I want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would scoop them up. I got them in my car. If I'm coming back down south, I'm playing them. When I'm playing them, like I just said, I might pull up to the light. I got Clue playing in my car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got Clue playing in my car. I got SNS playing in my car, right? That catches the attention of the person next to me. You see what I'm saying? That catches their attention. Why? Now this is grassroots. Ain't no phone, ain't no click, ain't no Spotify, ain't no, Sirius, XM. But now that is the evolution. That's the evolution. But there's always a price to pay. There's always a price to pay. There's always a price to pay.
So what do you think the price is that hip hop has paid for it evolving as far as it has now?
The quality of music, in my opinion, has subsided dramatically.
Okay.
The originality of the music has subsided tremendously. Not saying that it's not good music, not saying that it's not good artists, not saying none of that. But collectively as a whole,
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's subsided, man. It's subsided. Cause make no mistake, if you was whack, you was whack, bro. If you was garbage, you was garbage. Period. Now you can be garbage and still put it out there.
Yeah, yeah. You weren't hearing a lot of garbage back then because nobody wanted to hear it, so it wouldn't get out. Yeah, it wouldn't get out there. You would probably make it for yourself and play it inside your house, but yeah, you're right. Nobody wanted to hear trash music, but now it could be trash. You can still put it out there, and it can still blow up.
Somebody's gonna listen to it. Maybe not a whole lot of somebody, but somebody is gonna listen to it.
It can still blow up. Yeah.
You know.
I know for a fact now that they can make anyone famous. They can make any rap artist famous. I don't care what you're rapping about. I don't care what if the song could be the dumbest stuff we've ever heard. They can still make you famous nowadays. Back then, no.
It's not happening.
Yeah, it was not.
It's not happening, Captain.
People would laugh at you before they listened to your song. But now, yeah, it's so much simpler. So I can see how hip hop evolving to where we have access to it at our fingertips. It has diluted, the genre. There's definitely way too many artists now because everybody's a rapper now. They flooded, rap. It's just oversaturated now because everyone's a rapper, and it's hard to weed out the good artists. Not to mention when these radio stations are being paid for spins.
Hey yo, love.
Yeah.
Hey yo.
So they play the same stuff over and over again, and I mean, after you hear a certain song over and over and over again, sometimes you start.
It sticks.
Yeah, it sticks with you.
It sticks.
It could be trash, but it's going to stick. Yeah.
You mentioned radio, right? So I remember when radio started playing rap. I remember when radio, it was a station in New York called WBLS 107.5, right? Rest in peace to my man, Mr. Magic. Mr. Magic had a segment on, I want to say it was either Friday nights or Saturday nights. And I think his segment might have came on at 3 o'clock in the morning, man. It came on late.
Yeah.
And people would literally stay up or wake up to listen to Mr. Magic's segment and tape it. Because that was the only station, the only segment for hip hop. You understand what I'm saying? So to get your music heard on the radio, that's where it was gonna be played. And he didn't have but a couple of hours, so he couldn't play everybody's stuff. You know what I'm saying? But he would play it, and that was a huge, you gotta understand it, bro, that was a super, super huge deal. Not just for the artist, not just for the DJ, but for the whole community. That was a super big deal because before, it was nothing on wax that was hip hop. It was nothing on wax that was rap. It was nothing on the radio that represented that until that came along and it was represented. So it wasn't like just the artist, just the DJ. Everybody in the community was hyped, man. They was like, yeah, we gonna stay up and listen to this because it's that time. This our shit right here. Like, it's that time.
He's doing that now. Like at all. I don't know anyone who's doing that now.
Doing what?
They have a
Just
podcast, or whether they just come on and play, new music, or they introduce us to different types of music. I don't think anyone is really doing that anymore. They did before.
Well, it's so streaming, man. Streaming, and so many stations with it's so much music, so much rap music by so many artists. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when you oversaturate any market with a product, it gets diluted.
Yeah.
It gets diluted.
Yeah.
And it makes it even more difficult, in my opinion, for an artist to really, really blow, because it's so much. It's always been competition, but it ain't always been as many platforms.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Your platform at that point in time was what? The park, the club, a boombox, the tape in the boombox. You going through all that, you ain't gonna really listen to nothing that's trash. You want to hear what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Now, shout out to the South, shout out to the West Coast, shout out to the Midwest, shout out to the East, shout out to all of them. Because if you really think about it, Florida had their own style.
Yeah. Agreed.
West Coast had their own style of music.
Agreed. Yeah.
The Midwest even had their own style of music.
Sure. Texas
had their own style of music. Now it's Memphis. Like, shout out to all of them. And it's because it's not just regulated to one geographical area anymore. It is everywhere. They literally had break dancing in the Olympics.
That is right.
They literally had break dancing in the Olympics. Think about it for a second, bro.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. Some of them were looking like fools, but
they were.
You had break dancing. You're right. They introduced it to the world.
Break dancing is an element of hip hop. Break dancing is an element of hip hop, just like graffiti is. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to make it from where it was, a piece of cardboard on the concrete, to the Olympics,
which is
worldwide.
Yeah.
Shout out to hip hop, bro.
Yeah, hip hop has come a long way.
For real.
Yes, it has. You're right. I got one more question for you before we start to wrap it up.
Okay.
So, after going through the history of hip hop, what do you think the effect of AI is going to have on hip hop music? And I ask you this because they just recently had a rap artist that was AI generated, and he had millions of followers. He was doing shows. People were tuning in to his shows. Now I don't like how stereotypical he looked, because he had the gold grills, the wild dreads, and the colorful hair. Sometimes it was able to change up its hair at the drop of a dime because it's AI. It was able to change up his grill because it was AI. It was able to change his skin tone because it's AI. Now, there was a lot of uproar about it because a lot of people did not agree with them signing. They were signing this AI artist, and it actually had raps. It had rhymes. What do you think the effect of AI will be on hip hop, since AI can rap now, can literally write me a song and make a beat for me on top of singing it for me? What do you think it's going to have on hip hop? Let's say 10 years from now?
None.
Don't think so?
Why? There's an element with hip hop that's gonna never die, and that's the live performance.
Okay.
The live performance. Let's never forget about the live performance. The live performance matters. That part of hip hop still matters, and it still matters a great deal, because people want to be able, understand this, when we first started this conversation, we said these MCs might live on the second floor, they might live on the third floor, they might live down the block. They was in touch with the community, right?
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. How do you see them? On TV, on your phone, on your tablet, whatever, or live in concert. Okay? People still want to see you. They still want to see a real person.
That's true. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They still want to see a real, they don't want to see no robot, bro, when it comes to that. They want to see a real person. And anytime AI generates anything, they have to get it from somewhere. They have to emulate something from somewhere. Like you said, you got the dreads, you could change the color of the hair, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that, right? Well, how is that AI artist gonna throw a show or be at a festival, or go on tour? How the AI artist gonna do that?
Hey, they got Tesla bots now.
Put a hologram up there?
Hey, they've even tried that. Yeah, they've even tried that. Like,
Guess what though? It's not gonna fly. You know why? Because at the core, people still want to see a real person there performing.
That makes sense.
They still want to see them maybe slip on a rhyme, mess up on a rhyme and still keep it going, or the element of the stage show and the performance from the live body. They still want to be able to do that. And with AI, you can't. They can make all they want. But that element,
Yeah.
you can't take the element away and think it's gonna still blow or last. My opinion. I might be wrong.
If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more content.